Welcome here, everyone, my young Padawans, and this is the first episode of our podcast that we're starting right now. And I am really happy that we have a really honored guest here. We have Romain from ElasticSuite company. He's the founder of it, and I would like to introduce you guys to him. This will be awesome. So, hello, Romain. Really, thank you for being here with us today.
Hello, Raoul. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate. So I first wanted to thank you in my name and in the name of all the ElasticSuite team behind me.
Perfect, thank you. So, Romain, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how it all started? Tell you about yourself, what you were doing before ElasticSuite, and how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, sure. I used to be a Magento developer back in time. I started working with Magento in 2011, if I'm correct. So Magento 1 back in time for all those that had the chance to work with Magento 1. They will remain what it was like at this time. And I was an employee of Smile, which is a European open source centric company. And back in the days, I was a Magento developer engineer, so I worked on several Magento projects. I became what we called technical project manager, then technical expert. And what was um, what drives me in the past was the idea of innovating on top of Magento to make it evolve and to better serve our clients. Back in those days, the first challenges we had was with a customer that was having millions of products in his Magento 1, and it was hard to make it work. So we started writing a MongoDB backend for Magento 1 to be able to store millions of products in a NoSQL database. That was the first challenge we had when innovating on top of Magento, and that's where everything started. After this, we needed also to have fine-grained caching policies with Varnish, and we also made a custom tool for doing it for one of our clients. Then we began to publish those things as open source projects, and you can still find them in the Smile GitHub. And that's where we begin to think that, okay, we can build stuff on top on Magento, we can publish it, and we can maintain it so it can benefit to everybody. That's where the philosophy of publishing assets and becoming a real software editor came from. But we still had plenty of things to do. Our next challenge was the following. On all Magento projects, we were used to integrating third-party search software like Fredhopper, which is well known in Europe, Algolia, which is now worldwide, and some other solutions. We were used to doing it because Magento out of the box had a very poor search engine. So it was needed to upgrade it by using third-party solution. And then we came to the conclusion, why aren't we building our own search engine solution? We could do it and we could use great open source tools for doing it. So that's what started the inception of what was called back in time Smile Magento Elasticsearch. And this connector for Magento 1 and Elasticsearch is still visible online on the Smile GitHub as well. So that was the starting of ElasticSuite, but it was not called ElasticSuite at this time. And then several years later, Magento 2 came out. So we were like, okay, in Magento 2, probably they will have a good search engine with merchandising features, and we will be able to use it. And no matter, we won't be forced to develop something by our own because Magento 2 will be really capable for search and merchandising. But it appeared that it was not the case. And then we decided, okay, Magento is still not able to do proper search, proper merchandising, we will rebuild our extension for Elasticsearch from scratch for Magento 2. And we decided to give it a name, and the name was ElasticSuite. So we published it just after the release of Magento 2, and it became quite popular because it was adding a lot of value to the Magento 2 legacy code base. That's where ElasticSuite started. And then after that, uh, we we continued to work on ElasticSuite on a regular basis. We had one people, two people, three people. Then we added a product owner with proper roadmap management. We added more developers. And then it appeared that, okay, we are building a great tool. We are publishing it for free as an open source solution, but it's costing us some money. So that's where we started to think about what could be our possible options, and where we decided to structure the activity by adding a paid version of ElasticSuite and paid services on top of that to guarantee that Smile can still pay our salary and we can still continue maintaining the product because it was mostly used worldwide.
Okay. That's quite a great introduction. So, you actually started the project as a need for your own project, and then this grew up to be something for the community itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's really nice. And what is the paid version? Because I heard of it, I saw some presentations of it, but I never actually got to see it because, as you said, I was really disappointed on Magento because their actual Elasticsearch standard implementation, they don't even use documents properly. Right? So, for
Yeah.
example, when you look at the prices, you don't see everything correctly well aligned. They're like they have the price underscore then customer group and the tier price, and it's not like they actually work with a NoSQL document. It's like they try to input a SQL table into a NoSQL document. So
Yes, exactly. And I tend to think that designing search engine is a particular business. And Magento is great for delivering shopping engine from the product page to the shopping cart and the checkout funnel and so on. It's great for building promotion rules. It's great for building a lot of things that are really e-commerce centric. But when you plan to develop a search engine, it's a different business. You need to know how to structure your data, how to weight your data when you search inside it, how to manage your data to promote particular things, to bury some other things. It's really a different business, and that's why there are a lot of third-party search and merchandising solutions because it's a dedicated business, and it's not surprising for me that people at Magento and now at Adobe are not familiar with doing it because it's just something different. So I cannot blame them to not deliver something incredible in Legacy Magento because it's really hard uh, to build a good search engine, and it's something that you need to go for a deep dive on it. You cannot be just like, okay, I know how to write shipping method, I know how to write payment, promotion rules. I can probably write a search engine. That's not how it works. It's really something very particular.
yeah, exactly. And then it comes to the particularities of search engines, and there is a question that a lot of people ask me during classes. That is, oh, how you came with the, the thesaurus dictionaries, and what's the real difference between the expanded terms and the synonyms?
Yes. So you're right. In ElasticSuite, we have two types of thesaurus. We have synonyms, which are the most common use case. It's the use case that everybody knows, where you will put something like pants and shorts, which means both words are synonyms. If I search for pants, I will see shorts. That's easy to understand. For the expansion, it's the same thing except that it will work only one way. So one good use case for expansion is to have something very uh, blurry or not precise as the reference term on the left that will be expanded to more detailed terms on the right, but it will only work this way from left to right. You could have an expansion that have the word sport as the reference term that will be expanded to football, jogging, and running, which means that if I am a merchant that is selling shoes, I probably have a huge variety of shoes and I will have yoga shoes, football shoes, running shoes, and so on. But I will not have sport shoes, or at least I will not call it like that because I have products that are more precisely named. But if someone came to my website and search sport shoes, I need to show the shoes I have because I have sport shoes, definitely. I have yoga shoes, I have running shoes, I have football shoes. And that's where expansion can help because if I have an expansion between sport and running, football, yoga, and so on, if someone search sport shoes, I will show yoga shoes, running shoes, football shoes, because it works one way. But if someone come with a precise request, like I want yoga shoes, I don't want to do the opposite and to show all the sport shoes I have. If the guy is telling I want yoga shoes, we will display just yoga shoes and not the rest. So that's the difference between synonym and expansion. Synonym works both way. Expansion works only one way.
Oh, that's perfect. So they you could say that for layman's terms, they are basically the same thing. The difference is how they interact between the words. So that's why we actually have synonyms as only one item, right? So we have only
Yeah.
one field to write all the synonyms, and the expansions we have one item on the left and then a larger field on the right, so you can write those expansions.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's really nice. And one thing that really amazed me and all the customers that I show actually love how you guys did is how do you came up with the idea of the optimizers?
The idea of the optimizers is quite easy to understand. We were used to integrate other third-party solutions. And all these third-party solutions had things that were quite similar to the optimizers, but they all had the ability to create some ranking rules. So that's what we wanted to reproduce with our tool. And then we began to search how it could be possible to do it with Elasticsearch, because Elasticsearch is the backend solution behind the ElasticSuite. And we found that there is some particular syntax in Elasticsearch that are called function scoring. So maybe I will not go too deep in technicals there, but the idea of function scoring is you tell the engine, okay, for products matching a given rule, you will apply a higher scoring or a lower scoring. So that was the starting point. So we tried to map something onto this. And since Elasticsearch was willing two things, the boost to apply negative or positive, and a rule to match the product that should be boosted, we designed it this way. And that's the optimizer screen that everybody knows, where you select the products you want to boost. This becomes a rule that is sent to Elasticsearch, and then you select the boost weight you want to apply, and that's also sent to Elasticsearch. That's for the tech and functional part. And for the business part, I think it's quite obvious. If you're a merchant, you want to promote particular products. Uh, could it be the products that are in stock, the products that are new, products of a particular brand? Because sometimes merchants do have some agreements with brands to promote their product. You may want to promote products according to a particular season. Uh, in summer, if you are selling glasses, you want to promote the sunglasses and so on. So, in our opinion, it was a must-have to be able to define this sort of ranking rules. Otherwise, our product wouldn't have been useful for merchants. And to be honest, I tend to think that the optimizers is really what Magento was lacking in terms of managing the search and the merchandising rules. That's really a game changer to have it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it does. You can use even the most basic stuff that Magento should do. That is like you should always show out of stock items into the bottom. So you just check if the products are out of stock. You just add minus 99 of score to it, and
Yep.
that's all. I say that's close to perfection, because we take some time to explain to customers that thing on why score optimizer are not the same as sort order. So for example, when they sort by name or by price, they see out of stock items at the top. So that's basically the difference between sort and the scoring system for Elasticsearch, right? But that's extremely helpful already.
Yes, exactly. But many merchants confuse this between scoring and sorting, which is not exactly the same for a search engine. And I do think that even Magento or Adobe is still having some confusions between both regarding the amount of GitHub issues they have related to sorting out of stock products to the end. I tend to think that in 2023 they are still not very able to manage this properly.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We even made a modification for a few customers to actually change how Elasticsearch does sorting. So it first sorts the stock and then the sorting that the customer chooses. And then it works perfectly. But that's again, when people actually, there's what I say to all developers that work with any tool, they need to understand what they're working with and not just try to use it without knowing what it's work, how it works behind the
Yeah.
scenes, how the engine of it works, right? And what was your greatest challenge doing this over the last years? What's the greatest feature that you saw that was a huge challenge?
I think there was probably two big challenges, and I will speak about the premium version. So that's a good way to give you a view about what it contains. On the premium version, we have one feature that we call the recommendation engine that is able to automatically populate the upsell related and cross-sell product. And we do it with several sources of data that are collected by Elasticsuite himself. So this means that we needed to be able to collect what the user are doing on the website, which products they are viewing, which product they are buying, which product they are buying together, to be able to generate automatically list of products like frequently bought together. So this was quite a challenge because it needed to structure the data properly. First, the data that is tracked by ElasticSuite, and then how to compute those data to be able to determine, okay, this product is frequently bought with this other product. Uh, it sounds like it's easy because you could imagine, okay, I don't know, I have a mobile phone that was often purchased with a USB cable, and that's it. But you cannot just do this because if you only do it for a given product with another given product, when you go to this cell phone, it will work. You will see this USB cable. But if you go to another cell phone, you will see nothing. And if the USB cable that was frequently bought becomes out of stock or discontinued, you will have nothing again. So To solve this, we needed to add another layer on the recommendation mechanism that was able to proceed with similarity. So at the end, the algorithm is not this particular cell phone is buy with this particular USB cable. It's okay, this cell phone is similar to other cell phones, and those cell phones are generally bought with this USB cable, and those USB cables that are similar to the first ones. And by doing this way, this guarantee that if one of the USB cable is discontinued, out of stock, or whatever, we will still have USB cables suggested for cell phones. And if tomorrow the merchant adds a new cell phone to his shop, this new cell phone will obviously have no data because it will not be purchased on the first day or the first week. But you still need to have recommendations for this cell phone. So with the similarity layer, you will be able, day one, to have, okay, this cell phone is new, brand new, and here are the list of recommended products that are frequently bought together. So this algorithm was quite a challenge to do, and it's working actually very well. And that's part of the premium version to have this recommendation engine that can be a huge plus for a lot of merchants. So this was quite a challenge. And another challenge we had was still on the premium version on the optimizers. We wanted to be able to build an A/B testing mechanism because we wanted the merchants to be able to do some back testing with the optimizers. Like, okay, we are in April, May, it's not cold anymore, but it's still not that hot. What should I promote? Should I still promote long dresses because the time is still a little cold, or short dresses because we are getting into summer, so people want to buy short dresses? So we needed to build an A/B testing system where the merchant can put those two boosts, short dresses, long dresses, and let it run. And after a sufficient amount of time, check the result. So the idea is with this A/B testing system, anybody going to the website will either have the boost on short dress or the boost on long dresses. And at the end, with the we collect the data and we can see, okay, people that where we boosted the short dresses have a conversion rate of X%, and people where we were having the other boosts have a conversion rate of something else percent. So we know what the best things to boost, short dresses or long dresses, or maybe they are equivalent, but the merchant has the ability to see both and to compare what is the best. And to do it, we had several challenges with caching management because it will imply to have two different versions of pages. We needed to have the ability to track and to tag the session of the users to know, okay, this one was in scenario A, this one was in scenario B, and then to wrap up everything and to be able to compute statistics on each scenarios and to propose KPIs to illustrate, okay, the scenario A was this, the scenario B was this. So that was also quite a challenge for the team.
Yeah, I can only imagine because just by talking about this, you need to change varnish cache, then you need to change the collections blocks cache itself. You increase
Yes,
dimensions, so you need to be careful of the actual amount of processing that you require for the system to keep the same performance, right? Because you're increasing caches, the
yes,
cache
exactly.
footprint itself.
And last but not least, it should only work also work with GraphQL because we like to cover everything we do with GraphQL capabilities. So that's not twice the amount of work, but it's like doing things twice.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And one of the things I tell the guys about GraphQL is that most people do GraphQL wrong, right? Because They actually do the entire model inside of the resolver. And from what I saw from your guys' code, it's the logic is still inside of all the models. You don't have almost no logic into the resolvers. Your resolvers for the GraphQL are mostly for sharing the data or preparing the data to be treated by the models itself, right?
Yeah, we try to lower the responsibilities of the GraphQL resolvers because we do think that that's how it should be made, but we are a bit of blocked by some Magento implementation on this. Uh, and for me, GraphQL is a great way to share information between a front end and a back end, but the back end logic has to be done clean. Because if you have a GraphQL query that makes 2, 3, 4 seconds to run, it's really, really deceptive for the user experience on the front end. So I would say that's definitely a part where Magento should improve. Because actually most of the Magento GraphQL website I visit are not that performant.
Yeah, exactly. I actually gave a lecture on Meet Magento about PWA and Magento, and say that okay, PWA is not a hype, right? Because it's a really good technology, but it costs us much more for you to do it. The development
Yeah,
process is longer, everything is longer. We have one really big client here in Brazil that actually we removed PWA to go to the standard Magento native frontend. The website was as fast because the PWA was quite fast, but the development speed it was more than double to deliver
yeah,
stuff then. Exactly.
yeah, sure.
Perfect. And what other differences do you have in the paid version?
Yeah, in the paid version, so we have the recommendation engine. I already spoke about it. We have the A/B testing for the boosts. We have a revamped auto-completion box to have something very fast. To keep it short, in the premium version, when you type something in the autocomplete, you don't reach the Magento call stack at all. You just go to the bootstrap and then it's a direct query to Elasticsearch and we send the response. This allows to have something that is very performant for the auto-completion box because we know that it's the first thing people interact with when they visit a website. And if you have an auto-completion box where you type shoes and it takes 2 seconds to appear, the experience is bad for the end user. So you really need to be fast on the auto-completion box. That's why we've built this new version of the auto-completion box in the premium version. We also have a mechanism that we called behavioral search on the auto-completion box, where the idea is to suggest terms and products that are matching to searches made by other people on the website recently. As an example, if I am a video game reseller, I probably had a lot of PlayStation 4 searches years ago. But nowadays, people are more likely to search for PlayStation 5. If I keep the legacy Magento system and someone come to my website and begin to type PLA, Magento might suggest PlayStation 4 because it has, I don't know, several thousands used during all the recent years. And that's deceptive because people nowadays don't want to look for PlayStation 4. They want to search for PlayStation 5. And with the behavioral search, uh, the engine will be able automatically to determine, okay, this guy typed PLA, I have PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. What was the mostly used recently? It's PlayStation 5, so I suggest this one and not the other one. So this can work for video games, but this can work for plenty other stuff where you want to suggest things that are trending on the platform, things that are really searched by the other users and not something that was searched years ago. So that's really something nice as well to give relevant search results. We we also have filters recommendations, which is something that can be used for fashion, but also for other businesses. But there is a really good use case in fashion. It's with sizes or shoe sizes. Let's imagine I go to a clothes web shop. I will go to t-shirt. I will filter on size small, and maybe I will leave the website and do something else. And a week later, I will go again to the website. I will go to t-shirt again, and there ElasticSuite will tell me, hey, you want probably to filter on size small because that's what I'm used to do in this website. And this will facilitate a lot my navigation. So that's a, a little bit of personalization in the browsing, but it always help the end user.
Oh, it's like when you're going to buy some car parts and you want to have your the parts that are compatible with your car already filtered in all categories.
Yes, yes, it's a bit like that. Speaking about personalization, we also have the ability to build some widgets that will be inspired by your visit, like you have on Amazon. Let's imagine I always look Nike t-shirts. If I come back to the website and the website has this widget on the homepage, I will see inspired by your visit and I will see some Nike t-shirts because that's usually what I see on the website and what I buy on the website.
And
So
that data is
that's
based on that image tracker that you have on the website, right?
yes, exactly. It's based on the ElasticSuite tracking system.
Oh, perfect.
So we have this. We also have the ability to create boosts on what we call popular product or behavioral data. So it's the same as the boost you know on the open source version, but in those new type of boost, you can select to base it on number of sales, number of views, and conversion rate of the products. But more than that, you can use it not the total number of views or total number of sales, but you have some fine-grained options like number of sales in the last month, in the last week. And by doing so, you have the guarantee to still be accurate with what people are really buying on the website. Because if you are selling clothes and you do a boost on the number of sales of the last month, in winter you will probably have sweatshirts that will get promoted to the top because it's cold and people want to buy warm clothes. And as soon as you go more into spring and summer, it will probably be the t-shirts that will climb up because people are more likely to look for t-shirts and to buy t-shirts. So those kind of boosts are really interesting for merchants because once you've created this boost, you can leave you can leave it like this and your catalog will automatically move according to what people are buying, viewing, and so on. Popular product will climb up and less popular product will climb down. So that's really a good way to automatize the merchandising for the merchants based on what is trending among their catalog.
Oh, but this is you're basically making an automation of the optimizers itself. So you're giving the customers
Yes,
the ability of putting the rules there, and they will fit it for itself. They will change for itself. You don't need to get word and change for you, and change every
yeah,
3 months, 4 months, and that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we also have a screen which is something that is very nice for merchants, but also for agencies. It's something that we call the explain, where you can go in the back office and you can input a search term, and the engine will give you the result, like if you were in front office, but you will have a lot of detail for each result, which means for each product, you will see, okay, this product was targeted by this boost, and this boost. And it has a score of 1000 and a half because the word you typed was found in the name, it was found in the description, it was found in the brand, and so on. So you can really understand the search results and you can use it for some debug, like I don't understand, I type this word, a word, and I have a given product that is featured on position 1 or 2, but I don't know, I don't understand why this product is here. With the explain, you can replay the query, you open this product, and you will quickly see, ah, okay, the product has the word in a particular field. That's why it's matching and it's getting into there. So that's really a tool that can help both the merchant but also the agency to understand how things work within Elasticsuite. Because we don't want to be a black box. We want to give as much information as possible to everyone using it, should they be business and client merchandiser or technicals, should they be agencies or partners and so on.
Oh, so that's a much extended version from I think you released two versions ago. This for the open source also where you can insert the term and see which analyzers are running in there. You don't see in the product level, but you already see something that's quite helpful.
Yes, it's the same logic, but it's way more detailed with with the product level, which is what is the most interesting.
That's awesome. And there's one thing I don't understand. Why didn't Magento try to take you guys into the core since it's so stable? I've been using so for so long. I've used this since Magento 2.2. So
Yes, and that's actually a very good question that I think I can disclose now because the time passed. In fact, we've been in touch with Magento. I think it was in 2019. Yes, it must be something like this, 2018 or 2019. The discussions about buying Elasticsuite and putting it into Magento Core were quite advanced in terms of the process of how this should be handled and so on. But finally, it didn't happen. Most probably because Adobe wanted to focus on SaaS solutions like Live Search, which is now what they can propose for searching, and Adobe Sensei and so on. So I didn't have all the details. I just know that the deal was not done. So I speak with caution here, but most probably they preferred to focus on Adobe specific solutions rather than something written in PHP and inside Magento. Because probably, and once again I speak with caution, this did not fit with their strategy of the strategy we see nowadays, which is cutting Magento in pieces and unplugging those pieces one by one. If they had put Elasticsuite into the core, it would have been work for them now to cut these pieces and to unplug it to migrate to Live Search or whatever else. So I think that's why it didn't happen. I don't know exactly what were the reasons behind it, but yes, we've been in touch with Magento on this topic. With Elasticsuite was reviewed several times by the Adobe and Magento architectural team, and they were quite happy, to be honest, with the quality of our work. And technically speaking, I, I I still think that they would have been very happy to integrate it into the core, at least the tech guys and the development team of Magento.
yeah, because I use Adobe Sensei a lot because it is quite helpful to use when you have a commerce edition or a cloud edition. but I was not able to make a really good use of live search yet, right? Because the bare basics were not there until the last version that was released with 2.46. Like the faceted, the layer navigation was utterly really bad from what it's supposed to be nowadays. You know, price sliders didn't exist, and all the basics that you guys deliver out of the box in the community version were not there. And the things that scare me most when talking about search is not having control over it. It's different because
Yeah,
when you work with live search, you have some filters, you have some parameters, but it's AI behind it. It's different from when you have ElasticSuite on top of it and you can actually build your own rules, you can build your custom queries, you can basically build custom stuff there.
yeah, I agree. That's for me the main drawbacks of using a SaaS solution. It's you're forced to use it as is. You
Yes.
cannot build on top of it, you cannot extend it, you cannot customize it. You take it as is. It works bad, your problem.
Yeah.
If you take something that is open source, like ElasticSuite, if it does not fit completely with your need, well, just extend it. The code is open, so
Yeah, exactly. And I like to give examples these to people that are watching. That is, for example, I have a customer in here that is a really big company for B2B business, and they have a different thing because they sell stuff that are frozen. You know, so they have a short time between delivery, so they can be long delivery times. And they actually, a customer has its own stock source. On live search, that would never work because I need to sort the stock by the customer stock source and not by the website stock itself. In ElasticSearch, that
yes,
was easy. I just indexed a new JSON in there. I just created a new index to aggregate the indexer, like a new virtual attribute in there. We indexed it and just overwritten how the sorting of the stock worked. So we use the one for the stock search. That would never work into live search and stuff like that, or Golia search. You can't even customize how you input some stuff there sometimes.
yeah, for me that's really the drawback of using SaaS solutions. That they are probably fine if you have a small catalog and no complicated business rules, okay? But nowadays every merchants do have business rules that are complicated, and you need to fine tune the search engine to be able to deal with those rules. So for me, it's really complicated to take the decision that okay, we'll take a SaaS solution and we'll just fit with what it can offer.
And
And on top of that, for how could I say it? Uh, for all merchants, their business is unique and they don't want their website to be a copy of the website of their competitor. So if you choose a SaaS solution, you will have the same weapons as your competitor. If you go with something which is open source and that you can extend to make something very unique that fits completely with your business, with your customers, you have an advantage and you're better than your competitor. So that's why, but maybe I am a little biased because I've worked with open source software for years, but for me, that's why I would always choose something that is open source and that can be extended.
yeah, well, I do agree with you because mainly I see that the main difference that today we are feeling between B2C and B2B. So it's like mostly almost like 80% of B2C business that are actually merchants that sell directly to customers. They are easier to deal with because they don't have that many customizations. They are merchants. They want the website to be fast and they know what they sell, and that's that. There's not much difference between that. But when you go to a B2B business or a D2C business, it's extremely more complex to work with. Yes, the set of rules are totally different. So there is where I draw the line between trying to use more open source for B2B business and less SaaS solutions. Mainly because of this, because this helps a lot into these huge complexities of it.
Yeah, I really agree with it.
Yeah. And do you have any case of ElasticSuite that was implemented that you see that it was something different or something really great that you like to comment on?
Um, Recently, we've had something for a B2B website, which was an interesting use case. It was a B2B website that is selling uh, stuff to different businesses. So their use case was the following. We are selling paper bags. We are selling paper bags to bakers, to pharmacists, to grocery shops, to whatever. If the final customer, the end user, is a pharmacist and he comes to the website and he search for paper bag, he must see white paper bags with a red cross or a green cross because he is a pharmacist. If the end user is a baker and he came to the website searching for paper bags, he needs to see completely different paper bags. He needs to see brown paper bags with a bread logo on it. So those two peoples are using the same search terms. They search for paper bag, but they must have different results. So that was quite interesting uh, to build something to solve this. And for this customer, we made a customization to be able to contextualize the ElasticSuite Boost optimizers to the business of the end user. So one drawback is this will multiply the cache. No solution for that, but you're able to say, okay, I want to boost paper bag that are within the pharmacist category if the end user business is pharmacist, and I want to do a boost on brown paper bags which are under the paper bags bakery category if the end user is a baker. And now you can go to the website. If you're a pharmacist, you will see paper bags fitting with your needs. If you're a baker, you will see paper bag fitting with your needs. But at the end, you will have typed the same search term. So that was really a good challenge for my team and a good use case that could fit probably with other merchants as well in B2B.
Yeah, we did something that it was kind of like it, but it was mostly based on the customer groups. So we didn't have to deal with the cache itself like you have done probably.
It was not based on the customer groups because the business of the end user were managed in a different way for this shop.
I can imagine. Oh, that's great. And I'm seem to be getting out of topics. Is there anything else you'd like to comment out for us and to tell the community here in Brazil?
Sorry, like what?
Sorry, is that I am starting to get out of topics here that I have noted for our podcast. So it's more like an open talk now. So, would you like to tell anything to the Brazil merchants and the people that will watch this with us?
Yeah, first of all, thank you if you're using ElasticSuite because I will not be there if you didn't use my product. So I already met some people from Brazil several years ago, so I know that ElasticSuite is popular there as well. So first of all, many thanks. And for I don't know what I could add. Uh, if you're not on Magento or planning to move out of Magento to something else, and you're afraid of losing Elasticsuite, I have a good news. It's the fact that since the beginning of the year, we have a new product that is called Gali, which is the same team behind it. It's still me and the same developers. It's still written in PHP, so you probably are still able to customize it. And it's designed to work with any e-commerce platform. So if you are doing some stuff on Shopware, which is quite popular here in Europe, if you're doing things with Cilius or even any other proprietary e-commerce platform and you still want to have a bit of Elasticsuite, there is Gali for you. Uh, the features are the same, the team is the same. It's only the name that's changed.
Oh, that's perfect. And the idea is to use this like a SaaS feature or an on-premise feature is like Magento on-premise.
Gali is a non-premise product. Uh, we wanted to do it this way because we wanted it to be customizable and open source like ElasticSuite is. So that's something you can host on premise and you can build on top of it, which was our goal when we made Gali.
Oh, perfect. And I myself, although I'd like to thank you a lot because you saved my life multiple times in multiple projects. I'm not kidding. Since I started with Magento 2, one of my biggest projects ever uses ElasticSearch until today. It's more than 700 store views, 68 different countries. It's at the time it was a $8 billion company, and they're still using ElasticSuite, and that help us really, really a lot. And this is it's basic for me. I install Magento, I install ElasticSuite right after. It's the basic for every project. I am teaching this in the classes, and I will have a separate class teaching how to work with ElasticSuite in the admin for merchants, also in Portuguese, because they ask a
Okay.
lot for this. And really, thank you. I said it's unbelievable because I buy a lot of modules. For example, you buy modules for a lot of big companies, and I'm sorry to say like this, the code is just utterly ugly.
Yeah.
Your guys' code is beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. Everything is organized. I couldn't find anything out of Magento standard. Nothing is like observers here and there and just code them all the way around. It's everything. It's so well organized that it's really beautiful thing to see for the community to use.
Yeah, we tried to do something clean. So thank you if you appreciate. To be honest, it's a lot of time for us to work on it. We could have do it more quick and dirty, but we wanted to have something which was quite robust and that could live a long time. And I think there are still many parts of ElasticSuite that were written in 2016 at the beginning and that just didn't move because just work. So we it was probably a good decision by our side to take some time and do it clean because several years later it's still working quite well. So
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I can believe that sometimes I use some repositories, for example, for the target rules and for the shared catalogs, and I don't see many updates in there, but they just work. They don't need updates because they just work, and it's amazing.
yeah, generally I just have to go into them, change the requirements and tag them and that's okay.
Yeah. And do you guys have any policy if the community wants to help, like if they have ideas of features and they want to publish these features for you guys to review? Does that work?
Yes, of course, there are a lot of contributors already in the Elasticsearch GitHub. So any pull request is welcome. We have internal processes for roadmap review and so on, where we go into this. So feel free to submit any feature request that you might have. And if you want to add something, feel free to push a pull request as well. If you go through the recent release notes of Elasticsearch, you'll be able to see that there are many people that did their first or more recurring contribution to the product. So it's open. We welcome everyone. There are just some guidelines that are very basic to respect, coding standards and so on, but that's really accessible for anybody to contribute if they feel the need to.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. I myself have a few ideas that in the future I'll try to send you guys some stuff. So I think that for today this is it. We are reaching to the end of it. We have another thing 10 minutes that we have scheduled for it if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity. I really don't believe you're the first guys to be here with me in the podcast. It's a real honor to have you guys here, and anything I can help you guys here in Brazil, Latin America, help your own customers in here. You can count on me. You can count on the IT nerd community. That everybody's been really inspired about ElasticSuite, and a lot of people that were not using are starting to use now from the community. So if we can help you somehow, let us know.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for your support. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased. and let's keep in touch for the future of ElasticSuite in Brazil.
Let's do it. And by the way, just for you to know that the guys will know also on June, I think the 26th of June, that this will be official, we will have another Meet Magento where we will have a workshop. And in this workshop, we will be installing ElasticSuite for the people to see there too. So
Okay,
if
great.
you're invited to come, if you're able to, I'll send you the dates.
That's great. Good to know.
Okay. So I think this is it. Thank you very much. Thank you guys
Yeah.
that have been here also with me for this first podcast. This was a really honor, and we'll continue to do more. This was a remote one because Romain is in France, if I'm not mistaken, right? And
Yes, sure. I am near Bordeaux actually.
yeah, yeah. So I'm in Brazil, so there's a little bit of distance between us to get together. But I think this was really fun. Thank you all very much for being here, and I see you next time. And may the force be with you.